What's up, everyone, and welcome in to Your Celtics Source, episode 44. After three straight wins from the Boston Celtics, dominant performances from multiple players, Jordan Walsh, Derrick White, Jaylen Brown. We're going to talk about all of that, and we're going to do it on a special episode, something that we don't get to do very often, and that is with my dad. What's up, Dad?
Not much. How you doing?
I'm good. I've just been, you know, celebrating these last couple of games, not really celebrating, but enjoying these last couple of dominant performances from the Celtics over the past week where they've beaten, albeit the short-handed Lakers, but still a Western Conference opponent that you need to stack wins up against. You, you know, absolutely just dominate the Washington Wizards, the worst defensive team I've ever seen, possibly all time. And then, you have wins against the Pistons and the Cavs last week.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch. Look, I think I just it's been fun basketball to watch. I feel like the team has, as we talked about, taken quite a while, but they've come into their own. They sort of know who they are a little bit more now, and they're playing with a lot more confidence. It feels like and cohesion, right? What do you think? We talked early on. What do you see in these last handful of games early on before the season? Offense, no problem. Defense going to be a problem. Season starts, offense terrible, defense great. Do you feel like we found a little bit of a middle road here now?
Yeah, I think it's really two key players, which we'll talk about later. I'll just shout them out now so you can get a little bit of a preview. It's the emergence of Jordan Walsh on the offensive end specifically, because we know his defense, he comes into the league as a player that can be a dominant defensive player. It's can he be able to knock down threes or clean up offensive rebounds at a consistent rate? And he's just exceeded all expectations. I think he's probably your most improved player on the Celtics coming into this year. Way above Kada. Kada sort of was had a big improvement last year, but the jump this summer of Jordan Walsh has just been incredible to watch. And then the second player, it's just the confidence of Derrick White starting to come back, him starting to make threes because he's been good defensively and he's had occasional games where he's been great offensively as well, but he just has lacked that confidence through the first couple of games of the season. And now that he's getting that confidence back to take these tough shots, and now that he's making them, the confidence is staying with him.
Yeah, I think first of all, there's no doubt as of right now, the garbage man is the most improved player of the
Yeah,
year.
you know he hates that.
Hates that name, hates that name, but he
Such
takes
a
it in stride. But
but it's such a great name for what he
such a
does.
great name. I mean, there's something about the Jays in Boston. Anybody with a J has a superstar capability in them, right? Jaylen, Jason, Jordan. I think we got a comment. We got a theme here, but no, I think you're exactly right. Jordan Walsh, the emergence. We'll talk about him in more detail a little later, but no question, Kada playing just great basketball, like
Mm-hmm.
just really great basketball. I think the other thing too is you talk about Derrick White. We also see Jaylen Brown in the last bunch of games stepping up, just just filthy play. And I think they're double teaming him now nonstop. That is giving other guys a little better looks, I think, and that's helping.
Yeah, I think, as sort of a timeline for the show, we definitely have to talk about Jaylen Brown and whether he is obviously there are really only two MVP candidates this year and going forward for the foreseeable future with SGA and Jokic.
Yeah.
But can Jaylen Brown maybe, you know, approach the top five, maybe. You know, there was some disrespect last week, putting him not even in the top 10 for MVP. I think he's well above top 10 just on how he's carrying this team each and every night. But I don't
Yeah.
think he's quite there to that top five spot. And can he get there by the end of this season, maybe?
Yeah. We could spend the whole show just talking about
Right.
this, and we will do a show probably on that. The only thing I'll say is I don't know. He's right at 10, but like you can't shoot 76, 78 from the free throw line.
Right.
You it's got to be 85, 84 something,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can't, so there's a couple things to the
Yeah.
game. Now,
Especially because he's not getting the calls and he's not getting to the line enough for, that
yeah,
percentage to be okay, right? If
right,
he's getting
exactly.
to the line 20 times a game and he shoots 70, you're still knocking down, what is that, 15 free throws around that.
Yeah. Yeah, 14, I think. Um, but yes, I think he's great. What I thought I heard they as I'm sure you know, is number one most efficient from mid-range two this season.
Mm-hmm.
That is, and again, we're going a little bit off of the agenda here, but like Joe Mazzulla, and again, this is coaching, but he has changed the way they play in the last 10, 12, 15 games. They had to, but he's
Right.
done it. So you got to give him credit for doing it, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't think we should go much farther down this
Okay.
path. We can come back to it.
All
We're
right.
going to talk about Jordan Walsh as well. We'll talk about White. I want to do a segment on Joe Mazzulla because I think his coaching this year and his, you know, adaptability with lineups, specifically going to that small ball lineup where they know they're going to get, attacked each and every night on the rebounding front, and they're still holding their own and giving 100% effort. And I think you have to give a lot of credit to Joe Mazzulla for that. But
Oh,
before we even talk about the Celtics going full in depth, let's take a step back and look at
okay.
two of the interesting pieces of news coming out around the NBA this week, starting with the Los Angeles Clippers situation and Chris Paul being sent home on a road trip during his farewell tour.
I don't know what to tell you. I literally don't know what to tell you. I don't think Chris Paul is helping that team, but I don't think anything is helping that team. What do you care, right? Like, he's not hurting you, I don't think. Apparently, pretty bad blood between coach and player.
Yeah, and Chris Paul's
Here,
always been that guy,
fiery,
that
he's
sort of
fiery.
fiery guy that
Yeah,
is going to speak up when things aren't going well in ownership or in coaching, management, whatever it may be with players, and that might not be a great um, you know role for him when you're not even playing 15 minutes a night, right? If you're a star on this team and you are scoring 30 points a night and playing 35 plus minutes, yeah, it's
yeah,
a difference. You know, people might listen to what you have to say, but when you're not even playing 10 minutes a night, sometimes, back to back to back uh, DNPs, people start to get sick of the same message from you over and over again.
yeah. That's true. I mean, look, he's been a great player. He's obviously deep in the twilight of his career. Um, I think he's still respected. It's a little hard though when people yap that much at this, late in the game. Right? It's one thing when LeBron does it, maybe all time, one of the all time, maybe the all time great, right? But
Mm-hmm.
so I just think it's an unfortunate situation. I didn't see the Clippers being this much of a
Yeah.
train.
Well, I thought that they were going to be an okay team. I think we thought coming in to the season, and Chris Paul could maybe play 15 minutes a night, but
Contribute and
help
yeah,
to winning, right? Not help
yeah,
to a losing cause. And we talk about Chris Paul being at home now. The real reason the Clippers are trash is because their superstar is at home. That's the reason. Kawhi Leonard is never on the court. He's
yeah.
never playing. That's People say that Chris Paul, caused a problem on this team. They were going to be
Maybe.
losing whatever.
I mean,
What?
Chris Paul might be causing problems on the team. I'm sure he is, or they wouldn't have made this move.
Mm-hmm.
But that is the secondary effect of not having Kawhi on the floor,
Right.
right? If he's on the floor, this doesn't happen.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I just don't think this situation happens this way.
Now, Kawhi is not a leader, unfortunately. He's one of the guys that just goes out there and does what he does. He's not, helping out around you know, the team or the league. He's not promoting, the NBA in really any way. He just goes out there and does what he does. So you still need a guy like Chris Paul to sort of bridge that gap, but it'd be a lot easier if you're winning and you're not,
Well,
losing by 20 points a night.
that's right. Winning sort of cures all woes, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
if you have Kawhi on the floor, even if he's not being crazy vocal or whatever, you've won 6 more games, 7 more games,
Right.
something like that. And so, it just there's a little less need for the complaining or the agitation. And so we'll see. We'll see where he ends up. I think he'll end up somewhere. There's a chance. There's a chance he doesn't play again. I don't think it's big, but it's not zero.
Yeah, I think, because of the circumstance of why he was kicked off the team, teams might be, a little less eager to try and pick him up.
Maybe. I mean, if you think he's a missing depth piece to give you 11 minutes a night and 7 points, right? Like if a team like the Celtics last year didn't have that depth that they had at the guard, maybe add him for the stretch, and you're like, we only need him 9 minutes a night just so that we can give White a rest or something like that, right?
I agree. I think the Mavericks could be a good team to put him on. They don't have a lot of point guard depth, although, Nimhard, funny enough, right? The Pacers have just absolutely blown apart their team. Nimhard now playing for the Mavericks.
Yeah.
He's starting to pick it up, and Cooper Flag's getting comfortable, and they've actually started to win some games here. You know,
Yeah.
they're not as bad. They're not a 5-win team anymore. They're up to 10 games. They're just 2 games under 500, something like that.
Yeah.
So they're
Yeah.
starting to pick it up, and his
Could be.
defense is not great. Chris Paul, I'm saying,
Yeah.
at this age, that's partly the biggest problem with him. When you're shooting whatever 30 in the 30s from the field, and then you're not playing any defense, it's hard to play more than 5 minutes a night.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think he lands somewhere. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I think it's yeah, we'll see what happens.
Any more you want to talk about this before we move on to the one other piece of news, and then we'll get into the Celtic stuff, which is the most important thing
Yeah.
with this.
No, I think we can move on, and when he lands somewhere, um we can discuss it. But
Yeah,
I
uh,
actually don't find the Chris Paul story quite as interesting. I think the next story is a little more interesting.
I agree. I agree. I think because that impacts, you know, not only this
The
year,
league. It impacts
but
the league.
exactly, not just the team. You're right.
Which is what's up next? What do we got?
Yeah, and that obviously is the Giannis trade talk in Milwaukee. Um, he starts, just for some context, right? He comes into the season saying, "I'm going to wait, 6 months and see what this team is like, and then maybe I'll think about asking for a trade." But he wanted to stay in Milwaukee for this year, and the Bucks go all out this summer trying to get a team around him, right? They stretch and waive Damian Lillard's contract. They bring in Miles Turner from Indiana to try and get some center depth around him. And this team was a 500 team with Giannis. And now that Giannis is going to be out for, what is it, a couple weeks here, this team is quickly going to go downhill, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm. Are you a little surprised that they're not better?
No, because they didn't bring in any star, point guard or talent around him. They just brought in role players. And in this league, it's seeming like you can't win with one All NBA player anymore. It just seems like you need at least two All NBA or even All NBA All Star caliber players
Mm.
to win. You can't win with just a one star right now.
Well, that's for sure. I think you can win with Yeah, two All NBAs
Right.
or three near an All NBAs kind of guys or
Right.
something,
You
right?
look at like um the Thunder, for example, right? SGA is the face of the team, but you still have Jalen Williams right next to him.
Yeah,
You still have was it Chet Holmgren, who is a maybe not on the same level, but definitely a higher end player in this league,
for sure. I
right?
mean, let's just drill on that for 1 second. How many games are they going to win this year? Now, remember,
Thunder,
they might rest people at the end of the year and blah blah. How many games are they going to win?
I think they will get to hear me out. I think they're gonna get to 70 wins with 8 games to go, and they'll decide what to do from there.
Because of the NBA Cup, they will probably play extra games. They
Correct.
could win 83 games.
They could possibly win. Is
I
it
mean, they're not.
83 or 84? How many extra? Do you get
Well,
one
they
extra
have a
game?
loss already. They have a loss already, right? Don't they play three extra games or two
Right.
extra
Oh, yeah.
games?
So I guess, yeah, they're not going to win 83 games.
I know, but
But
I'm going to put their win total. I'm going to put their win total at 76.
which would break the record by 2 games, I think. What did
70,
the 15 Warriors
73,
got? 74?
73 wins, 74.
That was
Hey,
74. Anyway,
interns, let's look
yeah.
that up. I'll get them going on it.
But the point is, I think they will get to a position where they can break the record with games to spare, and whether they decide to go all out for that, remains to be seen.
Well, I
It
don't.
will not it will not come down to the last game is what I'm trying to say.
No, I think you're probably right, but it also depends. And I haven't looked at it. Like, I don't know what their last 10 games of their season looks like.
Like
If they're playing, tough guys in the West, that's one thing. They're probably not going to try and burn guys out for the playoffs. If they're playing the Clippers in some game, right? You
they
know,
might they might sit SGA and Jalen Williams and still win by 20.
exactly. So
Um,
we'll pull that up. But
but
back to Giannis. What do you think will happen here?
I mean, I think unfortunately for the rest of the league, Giannis has no choice but to ask out with this just the lack of assets that the Milwaukee Bucks have right now. Giannis has picked some teams, New York Knicks specifically, so far that he's had interest in going to for a trade. It'd be in the best interest of the Milwaukee Bucks to try and get the most amount of assets picks they can get back. And unfortunately, that looks like the Oklahoma City Thunder or the San Antonio Spurs right now.
Yeah, I don't think the Spurs pick him up because they don't need him. I mean, I guess he would
I
help.
mean,
Don't get
you
me
could
wrong.
you could get rid of what's their Stephon Castle, their was
Yeah.
it second year or third year, you trade him, then you can
Well,
give away
he'd get a lot of value for Castle too. He's a great player, right?
and you can give away like 5 first round picks in the next 5 years. Um
Yeah,
and
although you got to look at who has the money for him too, right? Like
um
KC probably could do it. Maybe, I don't
it's
know.
not about the money right now. I mean, Milwaukee doesn't need money. They need the picks because right,
Oh, I know they need them,
this league
but
isn't about money anymore because all NBA teams right now can spend up to the salary cap. It's you know how do you work out a team where you're under that apron with still maneuverability to trade, to pick up guys, stuff like that, which is the harder part of the league right now.
yeah. Although if you're OKC, I'm not trading for that, right? I'm crushing everybody. I'm keeping my picks and waiting to reload when I need
Right.
to, right?
But I'm wondering, um, I'll talk about one more thing about
Yeah.
OKC because it actually goes back to the Clipper situation. Um, but OKC maybe not this year, but if the Bucks can find out a way to hold on to Giannis for the end of the year, the Thunder win the championship, and then they get Giannis in the offseason to reload for next year.
Could be. Here, you want to hear something interesting? I looked up the schedule. These are in reverse order, the last games OKC plays. You ready?
Yeah.
Suns is the last game.
Okay.
Before that, it's Nuggets,
Yeah.
Clippers, Lakers,
Okay.
Jazz, Lakers, Pistons, Knicks,
That's
Bulls, Celtics, 76ers. That's a pretty tough
that's a
stretch.
tough that's a tough stretch.
I
Um,
mean, you got some easy ones before that with the easier.
like
You got Wizards,
I think
Timberwolves, Magic,
right.
Celtics again. But
Like I said, it all has to do with, when they get to the mark where they have the
yeah,
chance to break the record, right? The earlier
but
they
you're
get
not
to
you're
it,
not going to finish the season with like Nets, Magic,
right?
Clippers, Suns.
Right. You know, OKC is by far and away the favorite to win. They've played the easiest schedule so far, though. Like,
Well,
I
what
don't
you
think,
the games you get to play,
yeah,
the games you scheduled.
right. But
Go
my point
Pats.
is, you look at a team like the Nuggets, who are also playing well right now, and they've played some tougher competition. I don't think the gap is as big as we think. Now, it's still considerable by all means, right? It's not close in any way, but it's smaller than coming into this season, I think.
Yeah. Let's go back though to Giannis for a second because I don't think I don't think Milwaukee can let him go. I think they have to do everything in their power, even if it's sacrificing the future to keep him.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise you're looking at an 8-year rebuild, 7-year rebuild. Because you got to build. If Giannis goes, everybody has to go. I mean, you
Yeah,
have
but
to
but
strip
what
that
if you
team to
get
studs.
five first round picks in the next 5 years?
You're not. I mean, how long is Giannis's contract?
Yeah, but it's not about that. He's only 31. Teams, if he's going to a team like the Spurs, they can ask for five
Sure.
first round picks. And the Spurs, quite frankly, would be happy to do that. And maybe not for all five, but you send in a player and then you get four, three, maybe.
Maybe.
Like,
Yeah.
um,
I don't know. I mean, it's sort of interesting because if you're in the West right now, like Giannis can help you, but you have a long, tough road ahead of you for a long time. The East, I mean, we'll see what happens. There's a lot of good players obviously coming up and things change, but like it doesn't feel like the East is going to be nearly as big a bloodbath for a long time. So, like, think about the parallels, like trying to win the in baseball the AL East or something. It's always a knife fight, right? You got the Blue Jays, the Yankees, the Reds. Like, it's never easy. And so
mhm,
you'd be like, oh, we went all in and we still lost in the second round or something. You know what I mean? And so
right.
it's a little hard, I think, if you're in the West, you don't have a choice, but you got to be really careful because you got to do it if you want to have any shot. But in the East, it's a lot easier because we spend the same amount of money, and we're basically guaranteed, an Eastern Conference championship run. You know what I mean? Like not
Right.
guaranteed, of course, but I'm just saying like
Um,
it's a lot easier to get there in the East.
yeah.
So the question then is, does Giannis have more value in the West, or does he have more value in the East? Because you can't compete in the West without him, maybe, but in the East, you're locking up maybe a bunch of
Right. If he
rounds
can
of
get
playoff.
to a team like Miami's playing well right now, if you add a
Yeah,
Giannis to it, you can be a top team in the
yeah,
Eastern Conference.
yeah,
Mm,
right. And so then you're like, okay, well, yeah, we gave up a lot, but it's also worth a lot to be kind of the front runner to get to the Eastern Conference Finals for the next 3 years,
right.
right?
Um, but Giannis is getting older and his injuries are starting to pick up a little bit more as well. You know, he's still going to be a dominant force for considerable time, assuming he stays for the most part healthy.
Yeah,
But I do think it's not as dominant as it used to be, right? He might not be able to be the the 1A guy and the 1B guy on this team, right? You might need a 1B or even, maybe even a 1C player. It can't just be him and role players. You need someone
yeah,
around him to facilitate.
yeah. I mean, I think you see that with big guys, right? Which is they tend to have, which is not surprising, but they tend to fade a little sooner than the big guards or the guards, right?
Well,
Because
yeah,
it's not as physical for those guys, right? So
especially the way Giannis playing, right? He's
yeah,
always
he
going through contact, trying to,
yeah he
force his
plays
way
like
into the
Embiid.
basket.
He
Yeah,
just plays it super physical,
right.
and it's a great style for him, but it
It
has a
work.
cost.
Yeah,
It has a
it
cost.
it's for those guys, it's impossible to defend them when they're in their prime,
Yeah,
but then they end their prime early. Now,
there's one guy we see that is obviously still maybe in the back of his prime, but still in his prime is Jokic. He doesn't seem doesn't seem like he's, taking the beating that some of the other big guys like him have.
because he doesn't play that right. He's not a
He's
ball,
not as much a contact guy, I guess you're right.
and he doesn't when I say he's not a ball, dominant guy, he gets the ball from a Jokic or from a Jamal Murray and makes another pass. He doesn't, bring the ball all the way up the floor and try and, drive his way to the basket as
And dunk
much
through
as
four guys.
right. He's not dunking over guys.
Yeah.
He barely even leaves the ground when he dunks. He just slowly lifts it in. Right. And the way teams try to, often they try and play Giannis straight up one on one and, put a guy like, for example, Jordan Walsh on him and just try and give him, um, when I say pain, like discomfort
Yeah.
throughout a game.
Yeah.
Whereas Jokic, they immediately go and double because of his passing ability, not because of his ability to go through a defender, right? You put a guy like Giannis on, or not even Giannis, you put a guy like, I'm trying to think of, a strong, solid wing defender. Like, for example, you put on like a Wemby. Jokic is not going to be going through Wemby with his physicality. He's going to look to pass around him and find the open guy that Wemby comes and doubles off of, or Wemby's, guarding. He's not going to just go at Wemby.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, I think it'll be interesting to see. If I were betting, I bet he stays in Milwaukee because I think Milwaukee has to do everything they can to keep him. And so I think they will do maybe some unnatural things because otherwise you're looking at a long rebuild, even with a bunch of picks. It's still a long rebuild. I mean, look at OKC, got a bunch of picks, took 5 years still, right? Something like that.
We're going to take a quick break and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the Celtics side of things. Because we have to get to that.
Yeah.
But I do quickly want to say that Chris Paul thing and the more importantly, the Clippers being so bad, they have no reason to tank. Because if their pick ends in the bottom 7th, I think it is, you know who it's going to?
I don't remember, but I know it goes somewhere.
It's going to the Thunder if their pick is the bottom 17. And right now they're trending towards, having a high chance of being a bottom 7 draft pick. So that would be pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, it would be just sad.
It would be just so sad. You have to try and win right now. And if teams are smart, they'll let them win and later in the game so they don't.
True. That is true, especially
if you have a playoff seed locked up, let the Clippers win because it will help your team out in the long run.
That's true. It's a good point. That's a good point. All right, we want to take a sponsors break. Don't go. We'll be right back.
Thank you for continuing to watch this episode. We're going to get right back to the conversation with my dad, talking about the Celtics and their potential playoff run coming up later in the season. But before that, I do want to quickly tell you that you can find this podcast in podcast format wherever you get your podcasts, Amazon, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts. So it would be great if you could leave us a like and a rating when you do so. It really helps us out. Also, please subscribe, like, share this video with others on the YouTube side. And without further ado, let's get right back to it.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for taking a quick break with us. You probably didn't go anywhere. All right, let's go. What do you want to talk about next, Zach?
Let's move on to the Celtics side and the just performance we've been getting over the last couple of games here, specifically with Jordan Walsh.
Yes. Jordan Walsh. Yes. The rhinoceros. I think that's a good nickname for him.
The rhinoceros.
I don't know why. Because he's just a beast, right? He's on both sides of the floor. But this is my question. I'm going to go right to the heart of the matter with you. Is this a flash in the pan, or is this a level up of Jordan Walsh? Are we going to fall back off in 5 games? Or, look, at some point, bigger, better defenders will pick him up and he'll have a challenge the way a Pritchard or a White or whatever has. But has he leveled up his game, and will he stay at this next level? What do you think?
You want my answer?
I do. That's why I asked you.
Yes. This is a level up from him. He is going to be a fantastic, maybe not fantastic, he's going to be a solid role player in a year where you're going all out for a championship.
I'm going to challenge one thing you said. Role player. He, if he continues on this trajectory, we'll see. But if he just holds where he is right now, he's a starter on a lot of teams.
I
Not on
agree.
the Celtics, maybe with a stronger Celtics team, but like, I mean, it's sort of like Pritchard last year was a starter on probably 18 other teams if he was on them,
Mhm.
right?
I I don't think that his shooting is going to stay where it's been. I mean, right over the last couple of games, he shot 18 of 19. He went, I think it was like 15 straight or something without missing a shot. And it's not just dunks; it's wide open 3 pointers that he's knocking down. Sometimes those are the hardest shots because you're not in a rhythm. You're sort of waiting to take your shot, and those can be harder than having a shoot, a sort of a catch and shoot right up
Yeah.
on a contest.
But the thing, I think it's the details that I'm most impressed with. You know, poking blocks, or sorry, poking steals, right? He's getting like steals. He's influencing plays away from the ball. Like he's really changing the game. And he's scoring points, right? He's 20. What do you have last night? 22?
22 points.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's so if he can stay like this and Tatum can come back, who goes to the bench?
Um, quite frankly, I think you put Peyton Pritchard on the bench. Unfortunately, because I actually think he's playing better than White has been playing, lately. And Pritchard, ever since he's been on the ball, he's been much better than when he sort of started the season, off ball. And Derrick White continued to struggle, but Peyton Pritchard was also struggling. And then when Peyton Pritchard got on the ball, at least one of them was able to get back into form.
So what do you think? Do you think Pritchard hits the bench? I don't disagree. I don't love it, but I don't disagree, especially if White stays where he is right now. If White stays where he is and Tatum comes back, you gotta have Walsh in there for D, right?
I would think so.
I mean, Walsh is a better defender than Pritchard
100%.
by a pretty good margin.
Yes,
So,
but Walsh is your best defender on the team right now,
maybe I
without a
want
doubt.
Jaylen Brown to be, but he's not
Jaylen
playing
Brown,
clamps. He's not playing clamps D. He's putting all his energy on offense right now, I think.
and quite frankly, we need that more than his defense. So
Sure. Well, yeah. Well, I'm not complaining, but I think you're right. Like Brown has the ability to be the top defender on the team.
yes, but Jaylen Brown has told Jordan Walsh specifically to be that guy,
You
right?
think so?
He did. Like he came out and said that. Like he told Jordan Walsh to be the
Yeah.
the hustle, the energy, making the dirty plays, because then it allows Jaylen Brown to float defensively and then put all his energy into carrying this team offensively.
Well, I want to ask you a question because there's been a Celtic of past that was of this model. And he was I don't think he was a controversial player. He was loved, but at the end of the day, he did get shipped out.
You talk
And
about the guy who was sitting on the opposite bench
I,
last
I
night.
might I might be talking about Marcus Smart here. And so um, Marcus Smart showed amazing flashes of offense, but we know we didn't want him taking the game winner when it was on the line, right? But he took it anyway. Do
Here's
you think? Do you
here's my
think?
thing
I
with
mean,
Jordan Walsh.
go ahead.
I think he's not a point guard, right? So he's never going to be the passer that
Yeah,
Marcus
yeah.
Smart was. He also, I think, is a little bit more consistent. But I wouldn't trust Jordan Walsh to take the big shots either in the game
Well,
winner.
not yet. But
Right.
let's. That's my question. Is
But I
let's
also
see.
I also think that he's much more consistent because of his size. He doesn't have to just be out on the perimeter. He can be in the paint as well, which adds
Right.
a different part of his game that Marcus Smart could never provide, right? So when Jordan Walsh isn't shooting well, he can go into the paint and play that dunker spot. When Marcus Smart isn't shooting well, he's still going to be taking shots.
Right. That's true. Although, Peyton Pritchard shows up in the paint too. And he's not a big guy, but no, you're right. Marcus Smart, he doesn't have much success driving to the hoop, really, in general, right? So, but I just think it's an interesting parallel. Like, if Walsh keeps developing to be a true defensive threat the way he is showing he can be, but he's able to put in, 14 points a game, with two or three steals, a block a game, and a bunch of assists. That's pretty good, right?
Mm-hmm. I think the biggest aspect of his game on the offensive end is actually not his shooting; it's his offensive rebounding. Because of what happens on the opposite end, right? If you're going to be giving up defensive rebounds, or giving up offensive rebounds and not getting those defensive rebounds, then you're going to need someone to try and get some of those back on the other end and even out that margin, because you're never going to, win those margins with this team, especially the Joe Mazzulla's lineup. And we can get into that lineup in just a second. I think that's a good place to go next.
Yeah.
But you're not going to win the rebounding margin. But if you can make it close, then the Celtics have that ability to win some of the other margins and win a game. And I think that's going to be most important when you play some of the teams out west.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, there's something interesting going on in Boston. I think it's in the water.
Yeah. But is it a little dirty?
Yeah, it's a little dirty, but you look at Boston sports teams. You look at the Celtics, you look at what the Red Sox did with Cora, you look at what the Bruins have been doing, right, who are dramatically overperforming expectations, right? Dramatically. And what are they doing? They're all doing the same thing. Patriots, different story, I think a little bit. What are they doing?
They are taking, on paper, a bad lineup and just playing with a bunch of scrappy guys and getting the most out of it.
Exactly. Mix and match on a daily basis. We're going to run out this left-handed hitter against this right-handed pitcher. We're doing this. Like, every day, every inning, it might be different. Joe Mazzulla doing the same thing. Just playing matchups, playing hot hands, playing strengths, playing with feel. For an analytical guy, Joe Mazzulla's playing with a little feel in the game.
He has completely forgotten the analytical side this year.
I don't think so. That is not. I guarantee when Joe comes on the show, and Joe, please, you're always welcome. We'd love to have you. That is not true. You don't change your colors like that. What I think he's doing is looking at maybe a new set of data. He's reevaluating and applying it in a new way, in a creative way.
Yeah, when I misspoke. When I say he's not, the analytics that he was following in the last couple of years, he might have dropped those and picked up new analytics that are driving winning for this team. Now he might go back to them with a different team.
Yeah, but that's right. Like, the data is the data,
right?
But the players are the players, and so there's nuance.
He isn't using Jason Tatum data without Jason Tatum. He's dropped the Jason Tatum data and going to the Jaylen Brown, Jordan Walsh type data, which is
all those. I mean, as a statistics major, all those dependencies change, right? So like all those statistics that have Tatum at the point there, like, everything's going to shift when he's not there, right? The numbers aren't going to hold because they'll be different. And so it's taken them, 15 games into the season to figure out what that shift is. And now they're reacting to it and showing it's working.
Yeah. I mean, you drop those first 3 games, you're 14-6. That is a 70 win percentage besides those first 3 games. Now, yes, you have those 3 games on the season, but they're not playing like that team anymore. It's not like they're 14-6, but still playing. It's a totally new team almost.
Yeah, but also it's like, it's an 82 game season. So like, okay, yeah, you dropped the first 3 games. If that was going to make you lose the season, you were going to lose it anyway, right? So, hey, at the end of the day, will 2 wins determine whether you got a better seed or not? Yeah, maybe, but like,
I don't think it matters for this team which seed you are.
I don't think so either. Now, let's talk about seeds for a second. Let's talk about playoffs.
Mm.
How are you feeling about playoffs and Celtics?
I mean, you're a fifth seed right now. I don't think
Right?
anybody expected that. Now,
I
they have
did.
not
I called
played.
it. Let's go back to the tape. I did call that. I called sixth seed. So,
Um,
of course, season's not over.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But you still haven't played the Thunder twice. You still haven't played the Spurs. You played the Rockets once. You haven't played the Nuggets. You haven't played some of the just, elite teams out west. But to be honest, I don't think that matters. Nobody from the East is winning anyway. So,
right. Everybody's going to have an L for those, right? So,
right.
And look at the Lakers last night. You stole a win from a better team because their top two players didn't play.
Right. Now, were they a better team when they didn't play? No.
No,
but the standings don't say that.
That's right. Exactly. So you might roll in to a team that's banged up for a week and get lucky and steal another win against, Oklahoma or Denver or you never know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's why we talked about this pregame. You're like, oh, well, it doesn't count because, Luka and LeBron are playing. I'm like, I mean, it doesn't count as a quality game, but it still counts as a dub. And when you can steal those dubs, like if I told you at the start of the season, hey, you'll split the games with the Lakers 1-1, will you take that? It'll be like, I'll take it right now.
No, this is not the argument I would go with, but an argument could be made that the biggest difference between this team and other teams, or this Celtics team and other Celtics teams, is that they don't play down to their opponent. They take these bad opponents and they put them in there. They just wrap them up quickly. And, that Wizards game, right? Jaylen Brown got the full night off, which, what I think was great, expecting that he was going to play against LeBron and whoever against the Lakers. Obviously, that didn't end up happening.
Yeah.
But Derrick White didn't play the fourth quarter. Peyton Pritchard played just 2 minutes. So they get a full quarter off as well. It's not like they had a full game to play, right? Derrick White just plays in the 20s, which is, you shave 10 minutes off of his playing. That's a big advantage.
You shave 10 hard minutes off.
Right.
Right. 10 contested minutes.
Right.
Right. I mean, we watched the game last night together a little bit, and it was over by 8 minutes into the first quarter. Right.
The Celtics game or the Wizards game?
No, the Celtics game.
Or sorry, Lakers game or the Wizards game?
Lakers game. It was over by 2/3 of the way through the first quarter.
Right.
And I mean, they never really, same with the Wizards. It was a little closer score, but the Wizards never contested. It looked like boys against men, and so.
Well, the Wizards game was a 40-point blowout when it was done.
I know, but not the first quarter. It was a little, they didn't,
right.
That happened in the second half, really, where they blew it out.
The Lakers were
sort of the time. They never
The
trailed.
Lakers game was a little bit different. They got out to a big lead, and then they just were, they shot 70% from three in the first, or 70% from the field overall in the first half. That's why they got out to such a big
But then
lead.
They just sort of coasted it. Yeah, it got down to 14 points. But
right, that's why
they never really at risk.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
that's true.
So I think your point, though, is a good one, which is they are, as we talked about, now they found the rhythm. They're winning the games they should win. They're not losing junk games. Like they blew a bunch of games that they shouldn't have blown, right? And now they're not doing that anymore.
I agree.
And I think that portends well to get to be a 44 to 45 win team here. I think that's possible here.
I mean, maybe we'll end on this later.
Yeah.
Do we have to readjust what we had? We're at, a little bit over the quarter point of the season. So it might be a good time to readjust our records and our, playoff predictions and all that stuff. Let's save that. We'll talk about that last. We talked a little bit about Joe Mazzulla.
Before we move on, let's move to Joe in 1 second. One thing I do want to say about that, and I agree we can wrap with that, but this team is now performing the way we thought they would perform before the season started. Right?
Right.
We said, you said there's still a lot of talent on this team. Like, I know you don't have Tatum, but you still have Brown and White and Pritchard, and you got you still just have talent here, right?
Yeah,
And
there's
that's
also,
coming through now.
there's
That's coming.
definitely a possibility that they're overperforming, which, you know, sort of flows into the Joe Mazzulla aspect, which is the rotations and the lineups he's playing.
Yeah.
Um, you have a guy like Josh Minot shooting, what is it, 40% from three.
Yeah.
He plays 1 minute a night in Minnesota. Like if he was shooting 40% from three, he'd be playing more than 1 minute a night. I can guarantee that. So
Yeah.
there's something going on, as you said, in the waters here that's making guys shoot, guys that are not even fringe NBA players play at a high level on this team.
Well, that's one of the things I don't have it on top of my head. We can look it up, but like what's Minnesota's overall three, sort of takes and percentage, right? Because
Right.
I think one of the things that benefits is because you have multiple legitimate 3-point shooters always on the floor with the Celtics. You
Mm-hmm.
always have at least two or three of them, always, and sometimes five, right? So Minot, I think, is probably, I mean, he's had a lot of just open looks,
Right.
right? Now he's making them, but he might not have had as many of those open looks in Minnesota. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. He's shooting 40%, and Sam Hauser's still down in the early 30s for
But
3-point
but
percentage.
he's been much better of late. The percentage has got to catch up
Yes,
because he
but
really was a dog for.
those two percentages should pretty swap. I'm thinking they're going to swap by the end of the season because Sam Hauser's never shot below 40% in the season. Actually, since whatever second year of high school, he's never shot below.
Yeah.
And now it's looking like he's going to break that streak right now. But I think he's going to get it up closer to, by the end of the year, his percentage might not be up to 40
40.
because of the hole he's put himself in, but he might be shooting for the last 2 months of the season.
Yeah, the
In
last
40.
50 games, he might be shooting 41%.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's right. Which, frankly, is all we care about. Like,
exactly. It doesn't.
Sort of like,
it's not about what you did then. It's about what you do now.
yeah, that's right.
But the Joe Mazzulla thing, that's sort of where we were heading.
Yeah.
Neemias Queta has been playing fantastic, I think. But there's no other center behind him. Luka Garza is not going to play another valuable minute for Joe Mazzulla.
He doesn't seem to work out too well.
He has not played well. And I think we had questions coming in about Neemias Queta for sure. I think he's answered the bell. Most importantly, his defense without fouling, knowing when to stick his hand in versus wait and grab the rebound, right? Because earlier last year, he would, try and stick his hand in and help Derrick White defend another player. And one, he could foul, and he would foul because a reach in, whatever, at a bad angle was going to pick up a foul. And another, if he didn't get a foul, he'd be out of position, and the guy he was guarding would just come in and grab the rebound. And now you're seeing him sort of figure out when I can go in and help contest, when I need to box out, when I need to sort of drop into coverage or come out and contest the three. He's just been fantastic on the defensive end.
Yeah, he's still fouling too much.
I agree.
He's got to bring that down because, and part of the reason why is because we don't have anybody else.
Right.
So you got to be in the game. You got to be able to play more minutes for us. He's definitely a little foul happy. He still sometimes has a tendency to just take his giant tree limb arms and swat. But I agree. He's gotten defensively, and he's taken on the Luke Cornett pick and roll move.
Yeah,
like nobody's business.
Some of those dunks,
yeah,
pick and roll dunks from Derrick White those lobs have been great. Just easy offense.
I mean, he probably picks up 6 or 8 points a game that he's playing, and just like that, easy, right?
Which
I'd like to see him shoot some more threes.
It's not any, yeah, that's right. Which is not any effort for him, right? It's not like he's working. He's just, in some of these plays, he's not even setting a full screen. He's sort of ghosting it, which acts as a screen because the defender hesitates, and then he's already into his drive to the basket.
Yeah, I mean the effort for him is not the dunk because that's not a ton of work. The effort for him is the movement, right? Because he's got to do that, set the pick and release and go hard or
quicker and it's getting quicker by the game.
He's doing it, so I mean, look, let's go back to coaching for a second. I don't know who the center's coach is, but Celtics now for the past bunch of years have done a pretty good job of taking guys and elevating their play at that position, right?
Mhm.
Luke Cornett became a starter
Right.
in the league over the course of 3 years or something, right? Cada looks like he's moving in that direction. So they're doing something right on the coaching side there too, right?
Yes. But this is sort of where I was heading. Like,
Yeah.
Cade has been great, but as I said, he's the only center, and
Yeah.
he's not going to be playing 40 minutes a night because you don't play centers 40 minutes a night anymore in this league. It's just too hard on their bodies, right? Only guy that's playing 40 minutes a night is Jokic, and he's not really a center in terms of what he does, at least offensively. We said this earlier. He just does not play that same sort of, you know, high above the rim type of offense that centers play.
Let me ask. Go ahead. Keep going.
Well, I don't know if you're going in a different direction here, but
I am.
it's the it's the small ball lineups that Joe Mazzulla goes to when Nemias K is off the court, which is winning them games. That's what it is. It's the Jordan Walsh specifically, but Josh Minot, Ugo Gonzalez, who are the same type of player as Jordan Walsh. Maybe a step down here and there, but the same, the offense works the same way
Yeah.
whether any of those guys are on the court. And they're just hustling to every loose ball. The rebounding, yeah, we said this, right? They're not going to win rebounds because you don't have a center out there. But offensive rebounding these days is all about hustle. Defensive rebounding, it's funny. You would think defensive rebounding would be about hustle and energy as well. But it seems like defensive rebounding is just about size with this team and skill, whereas offensive rebounding is about effort, which doesn't make sense, but it just is the way it is.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question about this.
Mm-hmm.
Let me be provocative with a hot take. What's the chance of the Celtics? So this team looks like they could make a real run here, right? Especially if Tatum can come back.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to make a real run without another center. Luke Garza's not the guy. Will they move to reacquire Al Horford from the Warriors?
It hurts me to say this, but Al Horford has fallen into that category where his career is about over.
He's not. I know he's not having a good season, but he wasn't. Again, he wasn't doing so well before he came back to the Celtics from the 76ers. No, where was he?
76.
Yeah, 76. And then he kind of rejuvenated.
Yeah, it seems
home,
like the Celtics are the only team that has been able to figure him out.
It was good. It was good with the Hawks. I mean, early on,
yeah,
it was great. But
I
mean,
the Celtics
they need depth,
a run for their money in that 07 or 08 run.
Yeah,
it's funny to think about how long he's been in the league.
Yeah. He's not LeBron, but he's close.
I mean, he's only 3 years off from him, something like that. In terms of years played.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to make a move. Maybe they can. I bet you if he came to back up Kada, he would fit right in and give you quality minutes again.
I agree, but
I don't know why it's not working in Golden State, but it's not.
There are better centers than Al Horford right now that could be on the market, and that you could trade for. I don't know if you want to trade for them because they are on bad teams. They are giving you numbers, but you're looking for a specific role out of your center. Yeah. And there are not many guys, or there are lots of guys that do that, but not the guys that you're going to be able to go after, right? They're guys that can score maybe 25 points for you, but they're not going to give you much defense. They're not going to be able to do some of the things that you're asking them to do. And the Celtics aren't looking for that. And quite frankly, Al Horford wouldn't fit into this same role, the same strategy that they're playing now either.
Well, I'm a little worried about trading for a top tier center because I actually want to see Kada keep developing. I don't want him to go to the bench behind a guy. I don't think that's good for him.
Well, I'm saying, could you get someone even worse than Kada that could fill? Like, I'm thinking of like a guy like Valanciunas.
You have that guy. His name is Garza.
No, but there are some guys that, you can play in between. But the small ball lineup is working so well.
It is, but when you're gonna, I feel like you're gonna need depth there.
It's gonna come back to hurt you at some point. The center.
If Kada gets hurt, you can't win small ball all the time, right? Like you're
Right.
not.
Mhm.
But can I change topics on something? There's
Yeah.
something we haven't talked about this team that I think is interesting. I know you're going to have an opinion on. So you talk about small ball. There's a guy on this team that is feels like he's basically being left out of all the action and is a real garbage time guy now, which is Simons.
Yeah, I knew you were going there.
He is just really he is not
Yeah.
he's Mazzulla is not putting him in much.
That is one of the you know bad things or downsides of this team so far, in the fact that you're not using all your guys. It would be nice if you could get the same impact using all your guys, because I'm worried about Simons being a bad culture in the locker room.
Well, we don't have any reason to think that. I mean,
No, but he comes from a team. It just seems like NBA players, whatever, you come from scoring 25 points a night,
hard to
nine
go to the
straight years of
bench.
starting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like there's a Brad Stevens, as we know, and has has shared with us publicly, because he doesn't share anything with us privately. But he's talked a lot about. I mean, I think there's a move here where he takes Simons, Garza, and a pick, right, and
Mm-hmm.
ships those guys out. Maybe he's eating some of the money on Simons, right, because it's not a small contract,
Right.
But and then he gets back the piece you need because you don't actually need Simons. I don't think to
Right.
win.
No, I actually don't think you want Simons on your team going.
Especially when Tatum comes back, there's really no room for him.
Exactly. He's just a
So,
worse version of Tatum in his offensive game, from three at least. And
yeah.
quite frankly, he doesn't do this other tons of other things that
I mean, I don't even think he's better than White or Pritchard right now.
no.
He's better than
Um,
Hauser, but not by a
yeah,
lot.
he's come in and done a good job of scoring with the bench units. Joe
Yeah.
Mazzulla has gone to some all bench units, and they
He's
haven't done
leading the
any.
all bench unit for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, um, they haven't done anything defensively, but they've held the score where it is, with just straight offense from Anfernee Simons, and it's given rest to guys like Peyton Pritchard and Derrick White for a short couple of minutes. Now, you're not winning those minutes because you're giving up just as many
Yeah.
as you're
But you're not
putting
losing,
in.
so whatever.
Right. But at some point, you have to give Derrick White a rest. You have to give Peyton Pritchard a rest. So he's been
Yeah.
useful in that role. And his
But I feel
defense is
like
better. It's still not great. I don't know what it is with him. Like, I
it just
don't,
doesn't feel like a fit. It just doesn't feel like a fit.
right. But like, I'm not sure why, because I don't think like, is he really that bad defensively that you can't, we've talked about this before. I think it's because he just is an ISO type of player. He doesn't, he's a score first guy. And, you know,
He's not a
it's
move
not
the
like
ball
he
guy.
has and a bad ego or anything. And he
Yeah,
doesn't,
yeah.
and he refuses to pass together.
It's just his style. Just
It's
his style.
his style, and it's sort of instinct for him. And it's sort of hard to wipe that away from him.
I mean, maybe hear me out here. Maybe you need to trade him. Maybe you need to. I mean, I think there's a deal to move him and some other players and get back a key piece that would actually be valuable. But who was it that? I'm sorry, I'm blanking on who has the pick that the OKC gets. We talked
Clippers.
about it. Clippers. Maybe you trade him to the Clippers instead of Paul George and help them win 5 more games, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just so hard to trade a $27 million player with the salary cap stuff, right? That's why no team's taking him, because they do. The Celtics actually, I don't even know if they're allowed to eat the money. They have to find some guy to just match his salary.
Yeah, maybe. Well, they should have the Clippers re-sign Paul George, and then they could swap him and cut him.
Resign? He's with the Sixers now.
He Paul George went to the Sixers. I didn't see that.
Many years ago.
I'm not Paul George.
Who are you talking about?
Chris Paul. Sorry, I'm.
Oh,
This is a long
oh,
show. This is a
Chris
long show.
Paul.
Losing
I
my
was
train
like,
of thought here. Why did I say Paul George? What am I talking about?
yes, Chris Paul.
Right. But obviously, there's no money there. But anyway, I'm just saying Simons doesn't feel like a fit. Feels like you can package him. I'm okay trotting out Shireman and some other guys that probably they're not as good, but give them the minutes, let them improve. And so maybe you're losing those minutes by a little bit,
Mhm.
but I'm okay with
Yeah,
that.
I mean he's on a 1 year deal. I think what's just gonna happen is you let him walk
Just
at the
run them
end.
out.
Yeah, you just let him walk at the end of the year, which you know I guess you traded him for you know Drew Holiday, and you didn't get much out of him, but you got something.
Well, but Drew Holiday wasn't about getting value back.
No,
Drew
you
Holiday had
want
3 more
yeah,
years
yeah,
and
exactly,
had like a $35 million contract or something, right?
something like that.
Yeah. So
But we will wrap this up. We will, as we said, we're gonna let's talk about predictions and resetting sort of some of the goals that we had coming in because I think this is a totally. I don't even know if it's a totally different team than where we thought it was going to be, but we do like to react to the moment on this show. So we will just say that they are playing better than expectations coming into the season.
um I think they're actually. I'm gonna push back a little bit. I think they're playing at my expectations, but
So
it's taken
here's the
them a long
thing.
time to get there.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
where I am. I'm like,
Okay.
they're not playing any better than what we thought they were going to be. They're just
But
playing
they're
a
actually now
lot.
playing at that level.
They're just playing a lot better than what they were playing,
Yes.
right? Coming
Look, I think this is
through the
a.
first 3 games.
I think this is a 45 win team right now,
Yeah.
and I think they're
Mhm.
the 6th seed. I'm going to stand by that. And
I
if
don't know if
Tatum comes,
45 games get you in to the 60. Now, Raptors are playing so well. We play them Raptors
yeah, you
tomorrow
might need
night.
47 wins. You're right,
Yeah.
but
So,
I think, look, I don't want to rush him back, but I do think if Tatum can come back and be healthy,
I mean,
this team could go to the conference finals. I think, right?
I actually think so with how wide open the Eastern Conference is. The
It's
Pistons are
wide open.
not Pistons are worse than the record shows. The
The
Cavs are
Knicks,
what is going on with the Cavs? Like they are just having
yeah,
a
I'm actually more
terrible.
worried about the Heat than the Cavs,
That's true. Like that should not be a case. Cavs should be the best team in the conference right now.
but they're definitely not. They don't scare me.
And
You're beating them.
the
The
Knicks,
Knicks don't scare me.
yeah, I'm worried about the Knicks in the
I mean, the
playoffs.
Knicks are good. Don't
Yeah.
get me
I
wrong.
don't I think the Knicks are better than the game that they put on against the Celtics the other day, for
But let's just
sure.
put it this way: there's no one even close to an OKC caliber. There's no one who's really a Denver. Frankly, the
Correct.
Lakers would be the top team in the East if they were here,
Yeah.
right?
Um,
So
yeah.
there's nobody that scares you that with Healthy Tatum coming back in late March or something that you couldn't take a run at and beat. Maybe you're not going to, but you could take a run at anybody in the East and beat them. So
Um, but yeah, we'll wrap it up here. Once again, the Celtics are 14-9, 6 games above 500. I don't think anybody expected that after that first two
2 weeks,
weeks of the season. Um,
yeah,
but
but it's fun.
we're riding high right now, and you got through a tough couple of games this week, and it calms down just a tiny bit over the next couple of weeks, and then it picks up hard again going into the new year.
It
So,
sure does. It sure does. We're gonna have
we
to
need
go. We're gonna have to go on site in the garden for one of these games and maybe do a little bit of live streaming from there.
but yeah, we'll wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Follow on social media. We will be have an episode or an instant reaction coming out after the Raptors game. That'll be a fun game Sunday night as you're watching this. So the Raptors are playing so well right now, and it'd be nice to go in there and steal a win from them. But yeah, until next time, go C's.
Oh, seas.